We are made in Georgia. Sorry, I pressed the wrong
Georgia.
button. It's been a minute since I've been here. Sorry, I got to catch my bearings again on the Stream Deck. Press the right button. But hope everyone is having a great Monday, great start to the week. Happy Open Beta 6 launch day.
Yeah.
I'm Isiah Kilgoon with me as usual, and we're here for another edition of Titan Talk.
How could you not be happy? It's a Myrddin Monday.
I know, right? Oh, man, that's great. I should have used that for social.
Yeah, well, you still have time.
That
Still
still
few
have a
hours
little
left
bit of
in the day.
time, yeah.
Did I do that on Friday? Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Chat's making fun of my abilities to run the show, but apparently
it was me this time, chat. Sorry about that. Well, I hope everyone has been having a really fun time with Open Beta 6. We don't have a whole lot to cover because we figured we'd keep the majority of the show open just for feedback, bug reports, questions, for everything that happened with the new update today. Just a couple of known issues. Ares did ship with a little bit of a stinker. He was disabled for a little bit, but he is now turned back on. He was just getting way too much HP 5.
Yeah, so essentially what was happening was there was a buff in this patch to where his 2 granted him HP 5 while it was active, basically. Yeah. But there was some bug that didn't show up in our test environment where it was not clearing that buff at the end of it. So he was just able to get infinite stacks of more and more HP 5 and regenerate silly amounts of health. So that's already been fixed via server fix, so he is turned back on. We have, though, disabled another thing.
Yes, Staff of Myrddin has been disabled just due to an issue with its passive not working properly. So I heard from Kabir, ETA for a fix on that should be around 2 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully by the end of the show, that item should be turned back on. But if you're trying to build Staff of Myrddin right now while you've got us on in the background, you probably won't be able to do so.
Yes. So sorry about that, but we'll get it fixed soon. Other than that, it seems like it's been a pretty smooth patch so far. We've also heard a couple people having issues with the Eclipse event. And if that happens, just relog, and it seems like it's fine. But that is a cool event. If you haven't logged in yet to see it, this is one of the new fun things.
I know, right? I was lurking in the official Discord, and people were really digging the event. And they was like, wow, this got some really nice personality to this event. It's kind of like a choose your side, whether you want to be on Team Sun or Team Night. And you pick gods based on what team you want to play as, and you just progress the event.
Yep.
It's cool.
And it's a fun little thing. Shout out to India for putting that together. And then you just have this week to do that event because we have another event coming next week. So something fun to look forward to. Also, just preemptively answering a couple things that I saw asked online this morning. Where's Merlin's Aspect? Merlin's Aspect will be turning on Friday. And where's Yamoja Aspect? Yamoja Aspect will be turning on a week from today on Monday. We think it's important to constantly have a flow of new things and not just overwhelm people with too much stuff at once. So we spread it out a little bit. So there's something to look forward to here.
Yeah.
And one other thing that chat is saying is the pen stuff that we said was going to happen didn't happen.
Yes.
We know it did not happen. We are working on that still, and that should be rolling out sometime soon. I don't know if it's today or later this week, but we had planned to change the price of the pen items and the amount of pen they provide to provide more pen and cost more, but that did not go live today. So we are investigating that and should be addressing that sometime soon.
Yeah, I believe Clumsy put out a tweet on that. So he may have more information in his on his Twitter post for all that stuff.
Yeah, check out Clumsy's Twitter account if you want to learn more about pen or Smite cart.
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, you got to have the Smite cart going. Sweet. Well, I think that was pretty much everything on our hit list, Kilgoon, to cover before we got into Q&A and community discussion.
I think that's pretty much it. It's a light day today because on patch day we never know what
the state of things is going to be, you know.
Right.
So we try not to book guests and plan for a full show for sure.
Yeah. And but then we do have exciting shows on Wednesday and Friday. So on Wednesday we will have Nick on, who was the tech director on Smite 1 for a very long time and now is kind of one of our big gameplay programmers. I don't exactly know what his title is here. This is like the least title focused company I've ever worked at. But he's a big wig on the programming side.
He's awesome too. Yeah.
Awesome dude. Really into like Japanese rock and roll or Japanese metal or something. I forget some kind of Japanese like music he's super into. Neat guy. And he's been working on this kind of movement system rework that we've been talking about for a while. We're getting closer. There's actually a playtest happening for it internally right now for dev. And I think we're getting close to the point where we're going to roll out an ambassador test sometime soon and then hopefully get it live as a flash test in the next few weeks. I don't want to overpromise because the last few bugs can take a long time to solve.
For sure, yeah.
But we think that this is going to make a big improvement, and there's so much like technical detail that goes into making movement feel good in a multiplayer networked game that we just thought it'd be really interesting to have Nick talk us through it and like what's changing and kind of what we saw is wrong with the old system. So,
and then Friday, we've got Barkus on from our level design team.
Yes, and many of you through the years have played against a bot named Barkus, and that bot has been named after Matt Barkus, who is our head level designer, lead level designer. I don't know exactly what you describe him as, but he's like the guy in charge of level design here. He's been here for forever and forever.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't come on shows too often. He was on like one Smite 1 show way back in the day. Yeah. But he wants to talk about some level design stuff, specifically related to Assault.
Yeah, should be a fun show.
I had
Friday.
a teaser last week that we'll be talking more about Assault this week, so we should have more to look forward to as the week progresses here.
So definitely mark your calendar, set your alarms, 1 p.m. for Wednesday and Friday for some really exciting Titan talks down the pipe for later this week. But until then, let's just hang out and answer some questions, chat. How are y'all feeling about Open Beta 6? You run into any bugs? Got any feedback? Any questions about anything going on in the update? We're here and chilling for the next hour or so.
Yeah. I'm just going to answer this because the first question I saw, what made you choose Susanoo for the Prisms instead of a god that doesn't have any skins yet? I like the Prisms idea. I'm just not a big Susanoo player. Realistically, this is when new skin plus system being done aligned. We thought we had this cool skin in the works that was just turning out really cool. And at the same time, the team was working on like the tech that would allow us to create prisms, both in terms of changing the color of FX and changing the materials on the skins. And then also the UI to be able to like select which prism you wanted. And we just thought they lined up well to where this was kind of a somewhat special skin. It wasn't just like, not to belittle them, but it wasn't another demon skin. It was something a little bit different. And we're like, this is kind of a cool place to introduce them. Yeah. We do plan to have more prisms coming in the future across all sorts of different skins. But this was just the first out. We thought it was a cool skin and a neat place to give it a try.
Yeah. One thing that we did miss on our hit list, any updates on Blink status?
Yes. So our test continues. Yeah. I think generally speaking, the tone of the community has simmered down quite a bit now that Blink is back in A form. We don't think it's the final form for where Blink will end up. But for today, at least, we're happy with continuing on with this version of Blink. Yeah. We've talked about testing a lot more things. We've heard your feedback about the cooldown duration maybe not being appropriate. We've heard your requests for other forms of Blink. We've heard, hey, what if Blink worked in a slightly different way? We're talking about a lot of those things internally. I'm not sure what the next test is going to be right now because it's Monday morning here. We haven't been in the office that long. We've been talking about things.
Had a patch this morning.
Yeah, patch mornings are generally focused on the patch and less on like what's next. So probably this afternoon, tomorrow, we'll get sorted out exactly what the next test is going to be. But again, we don't think it's done yet. Again, it's possible we end up back where we started when we're done with this series of tests, but we feel like generally this current step from our perception is a step in the correct direction, but it's maybe a little bit underwhelming in certain ways. Yeah. So we're going to keep working on it. Why are prisms progressively more expensive / do you have to buy prisms in order or can you buy any? You can buy any. It's just 3 different colors. And for this first one, we put them out at 3 different price points because to be honest, we weren't exactly sure how much to charge for them. Yeah. So we're going to take feedback based on how they sell and how people like them, and then we'll go forward from there. But yeah, the idea is that just buy which one you want. We didn't expect most people would buy more than one, to be honest. Some people might collect all the colors, but we thought most people would just be like, I think this is what I project in my head. Right. I think most players will just buy the skin. Some percentage of players will then go on to buy the one prism that they like the best because it's their favorite color scheme. And then a very small percentage of players will buy a lot of them. Yep. So they're kind of priced with that in mind. We'll continue to examine that for the future. What's up with all the app reduction changes on objectives? I don't know what app reduction means. Maybe it was HP reduction.
HP, maybe.
HP reduction. Okay, so I have an explanation for this because this
Cool.
is. Let me pull up my Slack actually or it's in Discord because Flareboot, the master of Smite math, did a good explanation about how this actually works in the ambassador Discord because he understands how this stuff works better than a lot of people do. But basically, oh man, I can't find the actual thing. Let me see if can you answer a question while I look this up,
sure.
and then I will come back to it.
Let's see here. Let's see here. We've answered this one before, but can we get a random button for all the music themes instead of having to pick only one? Yes, that's something that we're aware that the community wants. Don't really have an ETA, but it's definitely on our lists for sure.
Oh man, this is brutal. I can't find the post. Okay, but man, I could start explaining it, but without the actual numbers, it's not as good of an explanation.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, give me just like another
No,
minute. Take another question.
Yeah, I'll take another one. Let's see here. Maybe include prisms on the wandering market like Overwatch does. It's definitely a possibility. We think the prism system is super cool, and definitely be on the lookout for ways that we use it in the future.
That is a good idea. I don't know if we've talked too much about it. Okay.
Let's see here. Will matchmaking affect casual modes like Arena? I believe most of the matchmaking changes in this update were for ranked conquest.
Yes.
I know Max is definitely keeping an eye on all the casual queues, though, for updates.
Okay. So
got it.
I got it.
Cool.
So basically, the way we communicated the HP changes was made it look a lot different than it actually is, because base HP scales from that number to the amount that it is when it actually spawns, essentially. So basically, the better way to say it's not that the fire giant spawns at 15 minutes with 4,500 health. It's going to basically just be like 1,500 health lower than where it was, which is, like 10% less or something like that. So it's a smaller change than you think it's going to be. So basically, it spawns with 10,125 health instead of 11,625 health. It's the exact numbers. Yeah. So the main difference is that it is a little bit lower health, but the reason why we changed the health in the first place was because the level at which the speed at which you gain items has changed with the way that we changed the flow of the map.
Right.
And this should just make the difficulty be the way it used to be based on the flow of your items at that point. So it should make them easier than they were in the last patch, but not as much easier as you think we made them by looking at the patch notes. And they also, should feel more like they did like 2 patches ago in terms of how difficult they are to complete. So I think that is as decent of an explanation as I can give while rapidly reading. Too complicated. Yeah, sorry, I'm the worst. When will the matchmaking rank changes go live? Because in the patch notes it says later. So there's 2 parts of it. The matchmaking team rebalance stuff is already live. The being restricted by SR ranges across teams will go live, I believe, later this week. So I don't have an exact date, but they are still working on that.
I saw this in the official Discord as well, just because people have found the UI. But when are account boosters coming?
Account boosters, we have the tech kind of working now, but we don't have a firm plan for how we're going to start sending them to people. So sometime soonish, but we just don't have a firm plan. Oh, I can talk about this just a little bit too. Okay, revert the first blood change. That was terrible. I saw a lot of discourse around this. I think the thing that makes Smite different from a lot of other games is that there is a lot of stuff to do in the map. And that stuff all has some sort of gold value and XP value associated with it. So if you look at the value that you get for a first blood by itself, that is certainly lower than you would expect it to be, right? Because it's 75 gold now instead of 200 gold. But you are still getting the gold and experience from the kill in the first place, which is a considerable amount more. And then the way Smite works, the way the flow of the game works, you are almost always going to then get another large advantage off of the fact that you have killed the person, right? So you're either going to clear a wave for free, push it into a tower, they get no gold off of it because it's really hard to last hit under tower in Smite, especially at low level. You're going to steal one of their camps that they can't contest because they're dead. You're going to take a middle camp that they can't fight over because they're dead. And it basically leads to, yes, that is the point of getting an advantage, but we felt like it's too much of an extra bonus advantage just for getting the first blood kill on top of the fact that you're going to also be able to get other things, right? And what we found is that first blood was entirely too predictive of who was going to win the match. And first blood should be a predictor of a likelihood to win a match, but it snowballed too hard to where the team that got first blood won a very large percentage of the matches. And the Smite's not fun when you know who's going to win the game at 3 to 5 minutes in. So we think it's important that like the game doesn't feel artificially comebacky at the end game, right? And the way to avoid that is making sure that things don't get out of hand too much in the first 3 minutes. Yeah. So I think that, if one person on your team gets first blooded, I don't think your entire team deserves to lose. And that was kind of the way that the game was trending based on the numbers that we saw. So we're testing this. Like everything in beta, this is a test. Yeah. If we find that this doesn't move the metrics in the way that we want it, we'll test something else, right? But I think that if you just look at it in the bubble of I only get 75 gold instead of 200 gold for a first blood, that is not looking at the whole situation, because again, you're getting the normal kill gold, you're getting the extra objective gold and denying your lane opponent from whatever gold that they were going to get. Like there's just more to the equation than just first blood gold. What are the lightning bolts next to people's names? That is the new legacy account.
Legacy name indicator.
Yeah, legacy name indicator. So we moved that off of name color because we have other plans for that in the future. Will we be able to change the blink icon in the UI so it isn't the combat blink one? Eventually. Right now, we're just testing blink. I understand that like for some people that aren't playing regularly, it can be confusing that we keep changing blink. And I understand that is a negative of our current testing and live approach. But we feel like it's better to run through a lot of tests quickly than spend the time to do it 100% perfectly. Because right now it's all about testing and experimenting. It's not about like, what's the final product going to be necessarily. Any news on Wandering Market Collection 2? That's coming 2 weeks from today.
Yep.
Is the next Wandering Market.
Probably early next week is when we'll start previewing a lot of that new content for Open Beta 7.
Yep. And we have teased that ward skins will be coming with the next Wandering Market. So you will be able to get a ward skin in the next Wandering Market, which is kind of cool. If you... is the emoji skin a cross-gen one?
It is, yes.
So if you owned that skin in Smite and you aren't getting it in Smite 2, you might need to log into Smite 1 again for it to update your ownership status, but you should own it in Smite 2 if it's a cross-gen skin that you purchased in Smite 1. Happy for the 4 people who buy wards. Come on, guys. Wards win wars, right? Like it's literally one of the most important things in a MOBA. One of the most correlated things to what team is going to win is who purchases the most wards. Unless there's just like one dude in the game who buys like 800 wards to troll. You know, that's the only exception. Speaking of weird data things, this was a funny thing. We were looking at some numbers the other day, and it looked wrong and we couldn't figure out why. And it was because Kabir gave one of my test accounts 1.6 billion diamonds.
Oh my gosh.
And it was skewing the numbers for our entire diamond economy. Because it was like, why are there so many diamonds in the economy right now? What's going on? And it's because Kabir,
you.
Kabir gave one of my accounts 1.6 billion diamonds. So
that's hilarious.
Spoil wandering market gods. I could probably do that. Let me look. You want to take one while I'm looking at that?
Yeah. Let's see here. The servers have been awful today. Any news on that? I haven't heard anything.
I have also
Chicken
not
Man
heard that.
Phil, but if you just want to drop what region you're playing in, that will definitely help us get the conversation started internally with our crew.
So the gods getting skins in the next wandering market are, get your notepad ready.
Right.
Izanami, Danzaburo, Hecate, and Amaterasu.
There you go. You'll have to tune in next week for full reveal for all those skins. Is there any plans for special unlocks for future prisms, or any plans for a tier 5 to potentially have a prism where if you bought the tier 5 within a certain time frame, you could get a special color variation of the tier 5?
Theoretically, yes. Something we could think about. I think that generally speaking, people seem like they really like the prism. So we've been just having a lot of conversations internally about like how we can better use them. Yes, Kerberos is also in the next update. I don't have anything to spoil about him right now. Let's see. It's a lot of people asking, why is there another Amaterasu skin? I think it was a good fit for the theme of the next update more than anything else, right? It wasn't I don't think it was a intended, we just are doubling down on Amaterasu skins.
What is the timeline like for getting prism skins added?
It depends. I would say that with the tech that we built out, it's easier than it used to be, but it depends on what exactly we're trying to do and how much, like for this group of 3, we mocked up a bunch to figure out what looks good, so I don't have an exact like time estimate, but it, it's not like snapping your fingers, but it's also not nearly as much work as doing a whole new skin from scratch.
Is there any way to make the chat window stay up longer or get an option to always have it up?
Yeah.
We've heard feedback that it goes away a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, there's some bugs with that. We're still working on chat. I think chat's not, I wouldn't say it's at our final state yet. So it's also inconsistent. Sometimes it like will open for VGS and sometimes it won't open for VGS. So we know that there's some issues with it still. Is there any way to transfer my PS4 Smite 1 stats to my PC Smite 2 stats? There's a very complicated linking post somewhere.
There's an order of operations. I believe it's just if you go to link.smite2.com, there's an FAQ link there that will tell you the exact way to benefit on PC and get your PlayStation progress and cross-gen skins onto your PC Smite 2 account.
Yeah.
Thanks, Apwash, with the quick command for that linking page and FAQ.
Behold the post of Apwash.
Right? Yeah.
I will answer this question. Why was Bari's kit changed from, Aggro's original design? I think that it's less that it was the question is like, was it technical difficulties or is the new god not living up to its potential or something? I don't think it was that at all. I would say literally every god we have ever made has changed sometimes pretty drastically in the last month before its release, because we find that certain things are either they aren't working the way that we thought they were going to work on paper, and that can mean either they're working too good or they aren't working well enough, or that the core gameplay loop that we thought was going to sound really fun wasn't as fun in practice, and we needed to pivot the kit to focus more on a different aspect of it. This is very normal for every god that we've ever developed. It was not I don't think it's a lesser version. It's just how the kit evolved through the course of development. And that's, like I said, it's very normal.
Please buff Titans and Obshard. Yes, if you missed it at the beginning of the show, we are aware that it didn't get the buffs that were talked about at the end of last week, but it is on the list to hopefully get those changes in live. I believe I saw a thread with Clumsy and Pond saying that they were targeting maybe Wednesday for some upcoming balance for Open Beta 6, which I would think that those changes will be included in that.
What was the decision behind making Fire Giant weaker? I talked about this a little bit. It is less weak than you think it is because of the way that we wrote it out in patch notes. It's basically instead of having 10,000 or instead of having 11,500 hit points when it spawns, it has 10,000 hit points when it spawns, and that scaling is basically just because the amount of gold that you earn changed in the previous update. So people weren't able to. Basically, we felt like we needed to change the HP to match the damage that people are doing at that point in the game. I can't launch the game using DirectX 12. Have we heard about this issue? We got one report about somebody. Is this when you launch it, you get a black screen like the game is loading and then it doesn't work? Because we got one report of that we were looking into. If you are also getting that, please put in the bug report. And it can help us troubleshoot what's happening. Yeah. So could be a couple people. Awesome. Yeah. So if you can put in a bug report, then Quantum QJ, with any details that you have, it can help us. Thank you. Thank you, Buddha, for linking the bug report thread.
Can we add God icons next to a player's name when using voice chat? It makes it easier to see who's speaking.
Maybe. I'll take a note on that.
Will Mode of the Day be introduced to Smite 2? Yes, we've been having ongoing discussions about Mode of the Day / Match of the Day in Smite 2. We're working on building out those rule sets. I don't think it will exist in the way that it does in Smite 1 to where there's a different mode every day. We'll probably utilize that system more for limited time events and limited time modes and weekend events and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that things are more interesting when they come and go a little bit more unpredictably, I guess I would say. And it's not just like every day there is a thing. Did we see Lightning McQueen Thanatos? Was that the vision of the game you imagined? So there's a couple. There have been a couple issues with Erendite. Erendite is on the hit list for additional nerfs. It is. There were some issues with the way that movement speed was being calculated, where two different movement speed buffs could multiply instead of be additive. And then also Erendite is just also it's too good right now. It is a very good item that we need to do more to nerf.
Yeah. Let's see here. Who are the next gods coming to Smite 2? So we had Myrddin today. Cerberus is next. I believe Kali is after that. Then Guan Yu, then Apollo.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a picture of this one so I don't forget to follow upon. But regarding shader compiling, what are the plans for improving the shader loading mid-game? My friend's experiencing the game for the first time. We're having a rough time with the lag it produces. I agree. This is something that we are continuing to work on. There is work that we need to do that is technical that I'm not going to be able to accurately describe in full detail. But it is a known area for improvement. Unfortunately, this is just one of the I'm not trying to throw them under the bus or anything, but this is a very common issue with UE5 games. There are some ways that we can make it better, and we plan to make it better, and hopefully make it go away completely. But this is a very tough problem to solve on UE5 because of the way that UE5 works. If you are playing Smite 2 on a NVMe SSD, you probably don't notice this at all, or if you do, you notice it very seldom. But if you're not playing on an NVMe SSD, and if you do not have a very fast processor or GPU, or like there's some weak point in your system, it can be really annoying and bad. So we are aware that it is an issue, and we're looking at it. UE 5.5 is an upgrade. It is not an entirely new engine, and it makes some things better and some things more challenging. We are in the background working on the upgrade to 5.5 right now. We are currently on 5.3, so we'll be skipping 5.4 to go to 5.5.
Nice.
Randy's working on that. I don't know exactly when that's going to be done, but he was working on it this morning. Cool. So,
did we turn down fog or adjust saturation today? The game looks better aside from the clear map aesthetic improvements.
Yes, we did turn down fog.
Nice, cool.
Yeah, so we felt like the fog was, it's both that it was too foggy, and the way that fog interacts with light in UE5 makes it feel much more, I'm going to say the wrong word because I'm not an artist, but more like volumetric, and it changes the lighting for everything else more than it would in prior versions of Unreal. So we felt like it was having a more adverse effect on the map than intended, and we took out a lot of the fog in Conquest today.
Glad to hear that. People think the game looks better.
Yeah, we're still working on it. DLSS 4, FSR 4. I believe DLSS 4 will be in OB7. So next update. I don't know about FSR 4. Is Ao Kwong a difficult god to add? I think this is the first Ao Kwong enjoyer we've had in chat. Welcome. Thank you for joining the Titan Talk. So from what I understand, his ultimate is the most challenging part of his kit technically and artistically, because there is a second model that, he transforms into the dragon when he ults, and the transition from grab, execute, fly up, fly back down. I think that is more new tech than I don't think anything else that he has is particularly challenging. So that is the a dragon soaring into the sky is the most difficult part. I can't believe it. Probably seems obvious, but that's the harder part of his kit, right? So definitely, answering your question of what makes him hard to do. It's definitely not the hardest god on the list, but that is a harder part of him. Yeah. Can we get more mages like Giannis and Disco? You got a mage today.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, we're trying to rotate through the roles. So I would expect that there will be a new mage after we get through the rest of the roles. And we definitely have seen the community discourse about what mages are most in demand. I think, I see a lot of Giannis. I see a lot of Disco. I see a lot of Scylla.
Will there ever be an easier way to uncap FPS?
An easier way to uncap FPS? You mean... So right now you can go into settings and you can change your FPS cap. Are you looking for something different? What are Medjed the Smiter's chances of being added as a playable god? We joke about Medjed a lot. There was a point in time where he wasn't actually on the list, but he was on the close to the list for Smite 1 towards the end of Smite 1. Newt won out, I think, over that slot. And then, we decided that we were going to move more fully on to Smite 2 at that point. But I think that there's pros and cons to that character. It's kind of a meme, which is fun, but it's kind of a meme which can be not fun depending on how we approach it. Difficult to do right. Have we ever gotten close to completing the Future Gods list? No. I have a slideshow with probably at least 100 slides of gods that people have pitched that would be cool additions to the game. It's just a constant battle of how do you balance, basically what are you looking for in a given slot that you have, right? Is it a god that is more focused at new players or at existing players? What role is the god? What demands does this design have on the different departments? Because we have to balance, like, sometimes we have really cool designs that it's like, that would take the entire team working for a year to be able to produce, we can't do that one, right? So there's a lot of, just like everything in life, it's trade-offs, right? Yep. You're trying to figure out what the best way to optimize what you have is. So
can we leak the slideshow? Somebody asked.
No, because here's the could I? Yes. But I think whenever we do that, then it leads to people more focused on what they don't have than what they do have. Yeah. And be like, why did you decide to do this dumb thing instead of this other thing that I like better? And everybody, like, there are several gods in this pitch deck that I'm like, dude, this would be cooler than any god that we have in Smite right
now.
Right, yeah. But you would probably pick a different list of 3 gods from that deck of the ones that you think are cooler than any god we have in Smite right now. So it's just, everybody has a different opinion, and we try and stay more focused on the things that we are doing than the things that we aren't doing.
Seeing a couple people in chat reporting Xbox crashes after the update today. I haven't really seen a whole lot of hubbub, but I'll keep an eye on it. And we do get all that information, that gets sent to us from Microsoft. That includes like crash reporting and stuff like that. So if there is an issue, we should know pretty quickly.
If you are trying to play on PC Xbox, the update has not yet rolled out on PC Xbox. So that could be causing some of your problems. There is no new feedback link in OB6. Yeah, I think we're updating the panels later today to bring that back. Yeah. So apologies for that. Is last hitting minions supposed to give full gold under tower? I believe not if they have been hit by the tower. Yeah. So essentially the way it works in Smite is that, like, if the tower hits a minion, it takes away the gold value of that minion. I don't speak Turkish, but if you post that in English, I might respond to it.
Let's see here. Can you fix cast types defaulting to global in jungle practice? It's been a bug since August.
So jungle practice bugs are unlikely to be prioritized because they are unique to jungle practice and they aren't impacting the game as much. I understand that it's annoying. Like I get somebody reporting that VGS doesn't work in, at least once a week. Yeah. And then I have to be like, were you in jungle practice? It's like, yeah, I was. Yeah. It's like, well, it should work in jungle practice, but it doesn't for some reason. Yeah. So, yeah.
Can we combine masteries and other recolors into prisms for the default skin to reduce clutter?
So they work slightly differently, both technically and presentation-wise. So we probably won't. I can understand the argument to reduce clutter, but I think that it's a little bit different in terms of concept and also technical execution. So we don't have plans to do that right now. Is jungle practice with friends going to be added anytime soon? It's something that we've talked about. I know that there was some work done towards it, but I don't know exactly where it is. So I can follow up on that. I know it's something that we have discussed. Nothing for Kali that I can reveal today. Yeah. Sorry.
Still got a couple updates for Kali.
Yeah. We have good old Kerberos coming next.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's see here. There is also a bug with PS5 voice chat where everyone is muted, and I have it in settings so it won't be muted. I haven't heard that one
I
before.
have not seen that. Is that new today? Because I've not played a game on PS5 today.
On Xbox, the in lobby, activate boost and player action are mapped to the same button.
That's good to note. I will pass that along. Loch Ness Monster as a new character is an interesting pitch. I have heard most potential new Smite characters pitched at some point. I don't think I've ever heard Loch Ness Monster pitched as a Smite character. That's an interesting one. Yo, I'm late. What's the news? We're just chatting today.
Yeah,
today
we're vibing, you know.
Yeah, today's just a random Q&A day, so we're just we're having a good time. If you're looking for more new stuff, I would say we're going to be talking about the movement stuff that we're working on Wednesday, and we're going to be talking more about map stuff and Assault on Friday. So,
and then on the Monday, I'm sure we'll probably be focused on Open Beta 7.
Yeah, we'll probably be showing off Open Beta 7 on Monday.
Cerberus, New Wandering Market,
lots of stuff. The apply all button is something that comes up a lot.
Yeah.
That's something that we want to do, but again, it's one of those things that's more technically challenging than you would think it would be. I kind of just want to get out a quick version of it. I think that like most of the complexity around it comes along the lines of like, do you really want it to overwrite everything? How do you do it for badges with 3 slots? Does it overwrite everything in that slot? You know, there's just there's a lot of like the edge case stuff that if we just said it just does it, and you know, I think we might be able to get it sooner, but I need to follow up on that.
Has Titan Talk changed the development process at all compared to Smite 1? That's a good question.
That is a very good question. I would say it's less that Titan Talk has changed the development process and more that our development process has changed and that led to Titan Talk.
Yeah.
So Smite 1 is a very different game for at least the last 8 years or so, right? It's been a game that has been kind of on rails from a production perspective, right? Where it's like, I could tell you 6 months from now exactly which 14 skins are going to ship that month. And I have spent weeks optimizing what gods are going to get the skins, ensuring that they are, you know, the appropriate amount of months away from the last time they have skinned. And we have a balance of popular gods and unpopular gods, and the themes have been vetted and blah, 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 right? And obviously there's all the other stuff too, right? But like everything in that game was, you know, it was like a train in Germany, you know, it was on a very precise schedule, you know, and it always hit the station on time, and we knew when it was going to hit the station and what was going to be there, right? That's just not realistically the way you can develop a new game, we don't believe. So that's been more of a complete change in the way we approach development, right? Where I think we screwed up at the beginning of Smite 2 development. Maybe not screwed up is the wrong word, but I don't think we embraced our status as like a alpha early access game as much as we should have. And we tried to be more on that, you know, regular cadence of here's the things that are in the patch and it's planned out in advance. And I just don't think that worked as well. So about, I don't know, I would say fall of last year, we really kind of changed the way we approached everything and have become much more flexible, nimble, reactive. Just what's the thing we can do in the next 2 weeks that will make the game better for everyone the most, and let's do that. And then there are some features that take longer that we do have to prioritize and plan across multiple updates. UI features are the biggest one of those, I would say. Gods are also the other big one. But other than like major UI features and gods, we play it as kind of loose as we can nowadays.
Really fast and loose,
and just like...
We're patching a lot more often,
Yeah, I mean, bug fixes going out all the time, whereas in Smite 1, you just live with a bug for a month, you know. but I think it feels worse with the game being new. So we're it's just a very different approach to development overall. And I think that like we started Titan Talk because we wanted to be more transparent about this work that we're doing, to get more feedback from you all. I definitely pass notes back from this show every time we do it. Maybe to some people's annoyance, but it is just a different way of approaching things. Yeah. When was the last time I drove with the German train? When I was at Gamescom, I was on a German train. So August was the last time I was on a German train. I can't talk about any future collabs or anything yet. I just don't have any updates on that, but appreciate all the questions about that, as always.
Are you aware that Achilles' global emote doesn't play any sound? I was not aware, but could take a note and pass that along to Kellen and see if he can dig into that.
Sweet. What are the Thunderbolt signs next to usernames? That is your legacy name identifier from Smite 1. Any update on this person you reported got suspended messages? Not yet, but I was talking with you and Tony about this last week.
Yep.
And I think that we were talking through, are there any other ways that we could potentially do this as well that aren't maybe not in-game, or ways of making sure that you know that
we are taking action.
We are taking action. Because we are, right?
Yeah, we are.
All right, I guess that's enough on that topic. I thought maybe you would have more to add on the.
I didn't really have anything. Okay. I was talking to Tony earlier about just like he was looking at some stuff early, and I was like, that's really cool. If you could save that video, maybe we can bring it up, for Titan Talk. Just some of the new backend systems that we're using to like detect AFKs and feeders. It's like really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely would love to see if we can break that out and maybe show it on Titan Talk soon.
Do suspensions restart on Smite 2 from Smite 1? Yes. If you were banned or suspended in Smite 1, you are not by default in Smite 2, but you cannot carry over your account progress from Smite 1 to Smite 2. Do we have any plans to add all chat in game? We do not at the moment. We believe that all chat tends to be much more negative than positive, and to not add a lot to the flow of a game.
Are the upcoming God cards in the Gods tab returning at some point?
Oh, did we not do that this time?
We can check with it. That's a good point.
That is a good call.
Because it should be Cerberus.
Should be showing Cerberus, yeah. That's a good note. We might have just forgotten that. Xbox bug where you can't get past the what's new screen. I do know you have to hold the button to go past that screen on Xbox, but I've not heard anybody who's actually stuck on that screen. So let me know if it doesn't work if you hold the button. Keep all chat hella away from Smite. People cannot be trusted. By your usage of the word hella, I assume that you are from NorCal.
Right.
The Smite 2 website is outdated. It shows Hunbots as the last god. Yeah. We are aware. We are in the process of a bigger update to the Smite 2 website that I can't talk too much about right now. But we are aware that is out of date. We just don't want to invest time into updating that when there's going to be a bigger change here before too long.
Yeah.
I missed the Bari art on the main menu. It was nice, but we got a lot of feedback that staring at the same art when the patch updated was contributing to the game not feeling like it was updating enough. So we're trying to make it so that the game feels like it's more regularly updated by updating that. When is the new Wandering Market release date? 2 weeks from today.
2 weeks from today. Are there any plans to bring back in auto surrender for duel for when people leave? Currently, if someone leaves before 5 minutes, you have to push and end the match by yourself.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I will add that as a note. When someone leaves before, how did it work before? It was like if somebody left before 5 minutes, or just leaves the duel at all.
We'll look out and see if Coach Fox replies to us. Plans to have Mastery of God shown on the God Select screen. Also sorting by mastery when multiple gods are in the same screen.
Sorry, what was the question?
Having your God's Mastery shown on the God Select screen.
Yeah, that's on our to-do list. It is a known thing that we need to get to.
Cool. And Koja Fox says if someone was DC'd for 2 minutes, it used to auto surrender.
Sweet. I got the note.
Cool.
That talisman of purification bug is interesting. I'm going to take a picture of that and I will pass that along.
Someone's asking, where's Denton at? We love Denton around here, you know?
Yeah. Denton, the classic. So who had the Denton costume?
Bacchus, yeah.
No, an employee.
Oh, I forget what their name was, but yeah.
Yeah,
it was
that's a good costume, yeah. Make it so we can check top damage while moving on Xbox. I need to ask about that again because I ask about that regularly, and I just need to make sure that happens. Cool.
I know we talked about it before on this show, but are there any updates to conversations we might have had about the old pedestal view in the God Select screen to where you could see your teammates and the skins they choose?
Yeah, not an immediate priority, but we have gotten consistent feedback that people miss that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we like that it's much more focused on your character and that there's a better view of your character than you got in Smite 1, but you are missing the team sense of things. So I think it's good feedback, and it's just something for the future. There's just a lot of other UI things that I think are more crucial to the game than updating that right now.
Yeah. Stefan Myrddin's active item effect isn't working right now. That item I know
should
is
be disabled.
Maybe it's back on because I know Kabir was targeting around 2 p.m. to turn the item back on. But we are aware that there was an issue with the item this morning.
Yeah.
And are working to fix it.
When will we go to 3 bans for each team in ranked? It's kind of a design question. I don't have a firm date, but I think
I know it's something that Max has been thinking about.
Yep. Let's see. Any news on the bug in ranked where players can pick banned gods?
I did see a screenshot of that earlier this morning.
I think Danny's working on some ranked lobby stuff right now, so it's possible that that's being fixed, but I'm not sure.
When will we get the ranked leaderboards to update faster than 24 hours? I know leaderboard stuff has been on the...
Today, I believe. So I believe the leaderboard should now update every 5 minutes. I believe that was supposed to go live today.
Nice. Cool.
We also fixed a lot of party issues today. So let us know as you're playing with the party and friend stuff if it feels better, if there's any issues you run into. There's still a few things we want to fix, but we didn't write up all the things we fixed because it's a lot of like small back end stuff.
Right, yeah, lots of minutia.
Yeah. Yeah, we're aware of the surrender votes not being a great experience right now. We're continuing to look at like conditions for ending the game on disconnects and, you know, like there's nothing worse than being trapped in a game.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that people are not trapped in games as much as possible. If you accidentally rebought something, put in a customer support ticket, and they will take a look at it. It might take a little while. I believe they are a little bit backed up right now, but they will address it.
Let's see here. Which gods are you having the most fun playing lately? I found a recent enjoyment in playing Agni.
Agni is good. Yeah. I actually play a lot of console Agni for some reason.
Oh yeah, nice.
Just fun to play on console. I am hooked on Baron. I can't stop playing Baron right now.
Nice, that's it.
I don't know, something about Baron. I just really enjoy.
I've been having a lot of fun with Princess Bari.
Bari's real good.
She's been sick.
Yeah, you know who else I've been playing more recently? I didn't like him when he first came out, but I've been playing a lot more Myrddin recently.
Ooh, nice. Yeah,
and I'm not winning, but I'm playing a lot more Myrddin.
Oh yeah, having the aspect on it baked into the main kit.
Yeah,
he feels a lot. He feels so much fun to play.
They're asking if that's why Baron got buffed. No, I have nothing to do with balance. If I was playing him at playtest, they would have nerfed him. That's what would have happened. Yeah.
See, we talked about Surrender already.
Is the Joust map art final? I feel like it could use a bit more color. We're pretty happy with where it is right now. We may go back to it at some point in the future, but don't currently have any major passes planned. You've been loving Mulan? Yeah, Mulan is pretty good. She also is just doing a lot of damage right now, I feel like. Maybe the text has not been updated for the leaderboard updates. I will ask Max.
I saw in the patch notes about a movement change. Is that going well, or have you seen anything different about it? Just curious about the data on it.
So this just went live today, so we don't really have a lot of data. Yeah. But I would love chat. Have you played yet? Have you noticed the change?
Oh yeah, this is good. Good litmus test.
Yes, good litmus test. Have you played today? Have you noticed the movement change today? Because this one is a little more subtle. Essentially, it is a change to the ground friction and how you accelerate and decelerate when you're rapidly changing directions. So if you're like ADing, like if you're going left, right, is probably when you would most notice the change.
Yeah, if you're specifically when juking, Pon was saying that you'd probably feel it a lot when you're juking abilities and stuff left or right.
Yep. It feels a little better flowing. I didn't notice it. I like it. Cool. Yeah. We're gonna keep working on it. Yep. There's a much bigger movement pass that's in progress and that Nick's gonna be on Wednesday to talk about. I think it's very exciting. There's a few bugs we need to get sorted before we can pass it along more, but we'll potentially see holiday events for Easter, Halloween, and Christmas. I think we will see something. Is it what it's going to be? Hard to say, but we do have something small planned for Easter. Yeah. Like I would imagine, just to like set expectations properly, like kind of along the same scale as the Eclipse event that's live right now. There'll be something fun for Easter.
Yeah.
It feels nicer turning 180 runaway. Awesome.
Nice. That's sick. Any plans to make more new items instead of just porting old ones? I know that's something that the design crew is always looking into. I know we've gotten a lot of requests for old Smite 1 items that fill a certain niche that we don't have in Smite 2 yet, which is probably why we focused a little bit of time on porting some of those older items. But all new Smite 2 items is definitely something that the crew is always looking into, and they're super exciting. So of course we'll continue to make those.
Yeah, I think the other thing is just like, even if you look at some of the new items that we have, like the new Anchile, if I'm saying that right, it serves a similar gameplay purpose, but it functions completely different. Right. And Runeforge Hammer is the same way too, right? Because it's like you don't just CC, now you CC and you have to auto to proc the thing. So I think that there is room for us to reimagine what an item does when we bring over an old item, but there are pros to keeping it named similarly, because people can tell. People that have played Smite 1 will just instantly grok like this is what it does. Yeah. Right. We ran into a huge problem with that in early closed alpha, where items just had silly names. They were fine names, right? But it was just like it was new stuff, right? And people couldn't wrap their heads around the new item system and what items did. And so we went through one update, and we did a big pass where we literally just like renamed and changed the icons for like 50 items. And it was the most positive change we ever made to the item store, like numerically speaking, from people, surveys and whatnot. Like people were like, oh, suddenly I understand the item store because the names and the icons are more familiar to me. So I think that there's always room for us to do new things. And I think we need a mix of new and old. But if something is going to have a similar function to something old, usually it makes sense for us to give it that old name so people know what to expect.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, we are past 2:00, so it's time for one more question. There we go. We're on time today.
Yeah, we did it. We did it.
Love it.
We should do our line check while we're waiting for some questions.
Yeah. I am rocking the Orange Kiss today.
I've got the Pink Slush.
Nice.
We are once again down to
just a couple flavors.
Just a couple flavors. I saw somebody posted a picture on Twitter.
They bought the variety pack.
They bought the variety pack, and they tagged us in it because of us. And where was it? Guillaume Price had done it. And it was like him and his cat. Like, it was
that's
great.
Hilarious.
And the variety pack, I was zoomed in to look at the flavors, and it's just a banger, man. It's Juicy Peach, Cosmic Stardust, and Cherry Twist.
Oh,
and I'm like,
so good. I need
man,
that.
We need those flavors in the office.
Right? I got to go talk to Matt.
Yeah. Anyway. We drink a lot of that stuff. I hope it's affordable. Please buy some skins. We have to buy our Alani.
Oh, man.
It's about the same as like any energy drink in America. So
let's see what we got going on here. See if I can find a good question. Any info on the grand vision for the art style direction for the course of the game? Realistic, stylized, or a bit of both?
I think the guiding principle is kind of it has to feel Smitey, which is a nebulous term.
Yeah, I know, right?
In general, we feel like the game is a relatively stylized game. It's not as far towards stylization as like Team Fortress 2 or like it's not a Pixar movie,
Right.
But it's definitely not completely realistic, and it's not trying to be realistic. And we found that when we go too hard to realistic, it makes the combat much harder to read. And also it just doesn't feel right for a multiplayer game because more realistic graphics tend to also be more like computationally intensive. So we're never going to be able to be as like high fidelity as like a single player game just because of the nature of how many characters are on screen doing a thing at the same time in our game. And so it's not going to feel as good as a true like realistic single player game might. So it's kind of a reason why games slide more towards stylized if they're multiplayer in some way. I would say we're going to kind of keep going down our current path. I think that there have been some elements of the Conquest map that were more realistic that we've kind of been going back and updating to feel a little more stylized. But again, I think it's not completely, it's not all the way to like Pixar, like I said. Some people described the style as kind of painterly in the past, which I think can also apply. Right. Oh, and I got to pick a question.
Yeah, that was my question. Now it's your turn.
Let's see. I can answer this one. Can we have the God ability screen, D-pad up, be a single click instead of holding, similar to Smite 1? It's kind of awkward how the hold up button while moving when you're trying to read abilities while walking. This has been some back and forth, and it actually worked both ways in Smite 1. You could either just hold up or you could tap up and release it and then tap up again to close it. And a surprising number of players, and I didn't know you could even do this until I got a lot of feedback about it, used to use that to level up their abilities in Smite 1. So in Smite 1, you can hold up on the D-pad and then push an ability button, and it will rank up that ability without needing to like switch your tooltip to focus on that one. And because that's a surprisingly common use case, we didn't want to break that. But I agree with you that I personally would rather like tap up to view my abilities and tap up to close it. But for some reason, we can't make it have both functions right now, where it works both for hold up and push button to level up and tap up and then tap up again to close.
Right.
So, so we can, we will continue to look at it, I would say, because I've had that same feedback as you, but the number one reason why it's not that way is because we don't want to break it for the subset of players that level up their abilities by pushing up on the D-pad and then pushing the ability. So that's it.
Yeah, it's definitely good feedback that we can pass along to the team. But yeah, chat, thanks so much for hanging out with us on a Monday for our kind of open beta 6
Myrddin Monday
freeform kind of community discussion Q&A. Hope everyone is having a great Myrddin Monday, as Kilgoon said. Hop into some games, play out with all the new content, test out that movement change. We'll be talking a little bit more about that on Wednesday with Nick from the programming team, and then on Friday we're gonna have Barkus on from the level design team to talk a little bit more about level design and maybe some cheeky assault news on that show as well. But until then, hope everyone has a great rest of the day. See y'all on the battleground. Peace out, everyone.